we're back. Dennis and Kendon with Victrola. We've got a bunch of new questions for you here starting out the new year. And the first one, we'll jump right into it, comes from Eric S., who wrote in and said, I'm going to paraphrase some of it. He says, lots of things are daily habits that we kind of just don't think about. It's just like chewing gum or brushing teeth or drinking coffee that you just do all the time. Sometimes that's a habit for people, for coffee. Coffee is just what they do every day. So they wake up and they get their coffee and they don't really think much about it. And what he says is, when I encounter such a coffee drinker, I've often tried to convince them that there is much more to drinking coffee than just the habit. More often than not, people seem to think I'm a coffee snob and they want no part of what I'm suggesting. What's the best elevator speech you have heard to convince a habit coffee drinker to try to see coffee in a different light? So this is a little tricky because as huge coffee fans, or if you're a fan of anything that's specialty like that, you can often kind of come across as like, dude, just drink the coffee, right? That sort of thing. Yeah. And we want to make sure something we say around here is we want to have invitation without obligation. So invite people to understand more and see the light and the way you've seen it, but without obligating them or that swill you drink is gross, even if it is. That swill you drink is gross. Why don't you drink this, this super bright floral stuff that I like? So there's got to be a balance there a little bit, and we've got a couple of ideas. So Dennis wants to. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So, I mean, as someone who is, coffee is very much a habit in my life, mm-hmm. but also it is what I spend the most time on than anything else. Yeah. So I kind of live in both of these worlds, and I guess for me, ultimately I think coffee, or the enjoyment of coffee, the enjoyment of anything really, but coffee especially, it's a very personal experience, and there's sometimes just that moment that changes coffee from a beverage called coffee that wakes you up in the morning to this beautiful, unique thing that's a representation of its place on this earth, and the tremendous amounts of human labor involved in getting that here to us, and then the tremendous amounts of labor of people roasting it and dialing it in and figuring it out so we can enjoy it. So, I mean, for mine, that moment was on a cupping table about 10 years ago, and that was my moment where coffee became this beautiful thing that was unique to its place.
Do you remember what the coffee was?
It was a table with a few different coffees. There was a coffee from Yemen on the table. There was a coffee from Kenya on the table. There was a coffee from Guatemala on the table.
So it was all of them, I see.
And that was coffee went from being a beverage called coffee to coffee from Guatemala.
Yeah,
coffee from Yemen,
I like that actually. Kind of sharing your own origin story of this is the moment when I knew that it was something else going on. Yeah. That might be a good way to approach it too. Yeah, your light bulb moment. You know?
And it was just that. I was in a position where I had the opportunity to do that, and that's where it happened for me. We host cuppings every week here in our cafe. And that's, we get a lot of people in, and for some of them they're super into coffee, some of them they're not, and they're just kind of exploring, and that's, really, the most significant thing for me was making that connection of how coffee is something that comes from a place on this earth, and it's the product of the work and the labor of numerous human hands. So that, that's what did it for me. Yeah. Different things might do it for other people.
Something else I kind of share along those lines too is whenever we do coffee demos out places and somebody asks oh, do you have the cream or something like that, and and I want them to try it or try the unique single origin coffee, is always just encourage them I think you might really like it. It's not going to be bitter at all, and here's a little bit of the story behind it, and here's why I like it and what I kind of get out of it, to kind of encourage them to come along with you instead of being an us versus them, good coffee drinkers and bad coffee drinkers, if there is such a thing. But this is what I saw, I can't believe, I didn't know, but this coffee's actually grown up at such and such 1,000 feet and, you know, picked by hand here, and it was actually dried out on, you know, like sharing a little bit more of the story behind it a little bit, as much as you know want to share and know and stuff. And the other thing too is if you can find something that they like in a big way, you know, like they might like you know, Chevy trucks or something like that, or super into every year, you know, of the classics or something like that, where and you're like, I don't understand, I don't care about that at all. It's a truck, man. It's the same thing. And so if you can find something like similar to the way that you like that thing, and you like to find the nuance in this thing, this is what I like about coffee. And if you want to try a little bit, you don't have to love it right away. Might not be your thing, but you can understand a little bit more that there is nuance and understanding to it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And you know, some people might be open to engaging with that. Some people might get that connection, and some people may not want to.
Yeah.
And they may never, and that's okay.
And that's okay too. Yeah. I cautiously tell this story. I have family in my family who knows what I do, and you know, part of the coffee, and big fans of us because we're family, but do not enjoy the kind of coffee that I enjoy. They just like a much darker roast, something that's in, you know, has lots of cream and sugar in it. So when they come to my house, I serve them something that they will like. I serve them something in that vein versus like a floral Ethiopia or something like that. Because I've served it to them before, and they're like, oh wow, and, you know, because they're in their mind it's a different, like, that's not exactly what coffee is, and they prefer it another way, and that's all right.
Yeah,
you know?
and as a beverage, or as a part of our life in that way, you know, I think, you know, the right cup of coffee, if we want to put it in those terms, is the cup of coffee you enjoy.
You enjoy, that's right.
And everybody's got different.
That's right.
Different things. So I think, you know.
Yeah. I think if you can share a little bit about what got you into it, what gets you excited about it, that's always exciting to hear. If you can connect with them about what excites them about something that they love, you can compare that similar vein. If you can share a little bit about, you know, it's actually amazing where this comes from, and that it's all picked by hand, and it's all roasted by hand, and, you know, some of the things that make it special, that excite you about it. If you can get excited like we are, you're gonna, you know, you will likely get somebody else excited, as long as you come with a invitation, not an obligation. So invite them to come along and engage. Don't beat them over the head with it.
Yeah. Nobody likes to be told what to like.
But that being said, we're not here to tell you how to live your life, right?
Yeah.
That's our.
So there's our 200 floor elevator speech.
Top of the Empire State Building to the bottom. I think we did it.
Take the stairs.
There you go. Take the stairs. So anyway, Eric, thanks so much for writing in. I've got a bunch more questions that'll be coming up in the coming weeks and months. So if you've got something that you want to understand about coffee, write us or comment in the comments section down here, or hit us up in every way on every social media. We're there. Anyway, that's it for now. We want to help you get more out of your coffee. So we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah. Blam! Da